Hi everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my first video of 2026. So, it's been a long time since I posted a video. Obviously in my channel, as a lot of you guys may know, you've seen me talk about sort of my experiences, my experience working in a medical center, experiences in terms of like placement wise, volunteering wise. So this video today that I'm going to talk about is going to be about one of my jobs that I've been working in. It's another job. So I have been working in a psychiatry clinic. Now, I wouldn't say a lot to unpack, but some stuff to unpack essentially. So I applied for this job in March last year. I applied for this, a bit earlier. I applied for this job, but I got hired in March. It's been quite the journey now. I am like close to working in the psychiatry clinic now for a year. It's pretty close to a year. It's getting there. It's been quite interesting, quite the experience actually, I will say. I've seen so many different types of like mental health and all of that, so like you get exposed to a whole lot of ranges of mental health. So for the clinic that I work at, we have a couple of psychologists and we have quite a few psychiatrists. So it is it's very much sort of like a private practice. So it is a private clinic. It's not a bulk billing clinic as well. So it is a clinic where you obviously are paying like a gap. However, like you do get Medicare rebates as well. So I think that's a pretty good thing about like specialists in general. You do get rebated back from Medicare, like with how much you're spending like out of pocket, like the gap and everything. So it's actually, it's actually worth it to an extent. So from my experience, obviously working in a medical center, I'm able to translate a lot of what I learned, my skills in the medical center, to working in a psychiatry clinic. So it is a very rewarding job, personally for me. I find it very rewarding in a sense where I am studying psychology, and so me studying psychology, essentially me working in a clinic, like a psychiatry clinic, it does help. So it does give me that extra benefit, like extra experience when it comes to working with mental health. So it's actually quite good. I find it very interesting. So my experience is probably going to be a bit different from other people's experience working in mental health, or like even working in like a private sort of psychiatry clinic. So experiences are going to be quite different from what I say to what the next person's going to say. But I'm just going to share a little bit of insight into essentially what I do. So I work in the clinic as a receptionist. They call it it's like a medical secretary type of vibe. But it is essentially a reception job. It's a front desk job. So I'm usually the first point of call when people walk into the clinic, when people want to book an appointment. We have like phones going off and all that. So it's very similar running system to a medical center. You do basic like admin stuff and all of that. But the only difference between working in a psychiatry clinic, I have found, compared to a medical center, is that the psychiatry clinic is more like mental health, so you get more mental health sort of clients that come in, whereas in the medical center we get mental health patients that do come in, but it's normally they come in for their injections and stuff like that. So it's, you know, we're not as exposed as much in a medical center as we are in like an actual mental health, like an actual psychiatry clinic. So in the clinic that I work at, our clinic sees patients from like 16 and above. 16 and above, essentially. We have a variety of different psychiatrists, like both female and male. We have a lot of different types of patients that come in, so we've got all different sorts of mental health walking through our doors, which is actually quite interesting. I find very fascinating because you get to witness more and you understand more, and you learn more about the medical aspect. I find that when you are working in jobs that are in medical, you learn a lot about the different medications. You learn about all different sorts of like mental health, different like symptoms and stuff. So you do learn quite a lot, like witnessing this on a day-to-day basis. So like, you get a lot of exposure to it, essentially. But yeah, our clinic, the clinic that I work at, we look at ADHD. We've got like bipolar, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, just a lot of like general sort of mental health, and obviously you've got more deeper ones as well, which is quite interesting. We get like a lot of like legal. There's also a lot of like legal patients that come in for legal reasons, court reasons, etc. So it's like a whole variety. It's quite interesting, actually. But yeah, I think it's very fascinating. I've had a few experiences where in this job where obviously, like, I wouldn't say like I was scared, but I think it was just a little bit like worried almost, and it's just like, oh, you got to worry about whether someone's going to be okay or not. So it's like a whole thing, essentially. Pretty similar to the reception job I do in a medical center. Like, I've had to call ambulance as well, like police as well. So it's kind of very similar in that aspect. But like I said, it is a very rewarding job. It is very, you get to experience what it's like. And as a student studying psychology in my first year, I think this sort of job or line of work actually is quite interesting. So yeah, it's very similar, like same sort of things, as all like reception jobs are. But this one is more specific to mental health, and I think it's just quite it's quite interesting, quite fascinating. So yeah, that's essentially my experience with working in a psychiatry clinic, and so far I'm enjoying it. And then there are times where I'm like wow, like, oh my goodness, get a little overwhelmed at times, but it is pretty good, and it's great. But yeah, so that's my experience. I do hope that people like watching this, you might get a little curious about it or interested. But yeah, that's essentially what it's like to work as a medical reception in a psychiatry clinic. So yeah, this is this is the end of the video for me. If you do like this video, give this video a thumbs up. You can also go through my channel and you'll see videos that I've made on mental health, going through it personally, and then also talking about like, you know, what it's like working in sort of mental health environments, whether it's for volunteer placement, and even just like, you know, just normal, I guess, like normal sort of work stuff. But yeah, so if you guys do like this video, go ahead and like it, no pressure. But yeah, peace out everybody. I'll see you in my next video. I don't know when that's gonna be, but we'll figure it out. Bye.